This is your Loudoun County Weather Outlook. It's been a while. I definitely want to update as we get some interesting looking weather over the next week. We'll show both the American model here now, and we'll get into the European model. Let's just quickly go over the forecast over the next several days. We do have a chance to some scattered showers and storms today. If they do hit you, maybe we'll get some good rain out of it. But it's very isolated and scattered, so I wouldn't be counting on rain. A little better chance tonight, and then tomorrow a likelihood of rain in the afternoon and evening, showers, and maybe some thunderstorms, potentially even marginally severe, so you will have to watch that. If you do get thunderstorms, you're going to get more rain. The forecast is kind of for a half an inch to an inch of rain, possibly. I think it just depends on whether or not you get a thunderstorm over you, top of you. Otherwise, I'd say anywhere from a quarter of an inch to an inch, depending on how much, thunderstorms you get over top of your area. We'll need it. And then we stay unsettled through the weekend. How unsettled is still a little bit questionable. European looks much different than the American model for exactly how wet we'll be. So I'll show that. And the next week, we get some crazy interactions with potential East Coast systems. It could really bombard the East Coast with a lot of wind and high tides and erosion, which isn't good. It could influence us too, bring us some chances of rain, but then I think it would just really turn us really breezy. Then after that, I think we'll be warmer and continue in a drier pattern. So we need the rain over the next several days, which could be total an inch or even more depending on those thunderstorms. So here we go. So again, this is into today, so it does show some showers later this evening and afternoon, and then the front approaches tomorrow. This is where we get our best chance of some showers and maybe some isolated storms. And on Friday, we still see those showers sticking around, but late in the day, though, it kind of clears out. We can hope that this means Saturday is clear for those people going to the plane, the aviation show, the air show out in Leesburg. But it is questionable. This moisture to the south and its impacts are going to be something we want to watch. Also, easterly winds off the ocean could mean fog or a lower ceiling. I'm just hoping for the best and it clears up and we have a good day. But by late in the day, we could see some showers as shown here and maybe even lingering into Sunday. So we just have to see how things happen there. Could dry out here. And this is where we start watching what the heck is going on off the East Coast. We got 2 low pressure systems, maybe 2 tropical systems. And it's just a weird configuration setup. The models are definitely going to struggle with this. And how they impact us and how close they get are really going to influence our weather. I think in general, this is easterly flow, so it could be more moisture, again, those morning foggy conditions that we've experienced. But as we get the tropical moisture getting in here, maybe even a better chance of cloudiness. And that thing gets pretty close, and I think it could increase our winds here off the east. You definitely see that with the high to the north and the low to the east. Winds are going to be pretty strong here. This is by Tuesday next week. But so far, we're staying dry here on the American model. Just a close call to the East Coast. And you know, this is wild. Wait till you see the European model. This does help swing in cooler air out of the north and really dry us up quite a bit. Continuing breezy early, and then by middle part of next week, pretty dry, and still the influence of easterly winds could mean, again, those morning foggy conditions. This low to the north here, once this high can finally get pushed out of the way, you see cold air damming. This is really strong cool air getting pushed up against the mountains, which is what's keeping us from really warming up quickly next week. But once that high gets shoved out of here, if it ever does on the American model, that's when I think we'll really see our warm up, and that's when this high comes in here and takes shape for us. But we're staying dry, if you notice, until we get to maybe the end of next week. And by that point, I think we're just in la-la land. So what we see, I wouldn't even count on like this big hurricane down in the Gulf and everything. I just don't know how it's going to look. This is a huge warm-up, by the way, in the middle part of the country. It's very warm. So if that warm weather pushes east, we'll definitely have warmer conditions in the long range. All right, so now time for the wild interactions and also just a outlook for the weekend as a heads up. As we move forward, we again see the showers and then the showers and storms tomorrow. So I don't want to dwell too long on that. And then by Friday, things start to clear out some. So that Friday we're pretty good. And then on Saturday we see this approaching weather system from the south. If this is true, it can mean by Saturday late into Sunday we could get a lot more rain than what the the American model was showing. Maybe later on Sunday, but this doesn't look too wet anymore, so that's good. There was an earlier model run showing it really wet. But here we go into next week. And the influence of this here hurricane, and then there's another one to the east. You just wait and see what it's doing. Some wild interactions, and it could help us because of those easterly winds bring in moisture into the region, and that could be very helpful again for the drought situation. This low gets pretty close and is interesting off the east coast. It does very similar down to what the GFS is showing because ultimately it moves to the north, and then this is our very strong winds. As it's high to the north, in this strong area of low to the east, it's just pushing very strong winds along the east coast. Also, it is ridging drier air and cooler air down east of the mountains. So cool air damming will be in effect early next week into middle part of next week. And it looks also reinforced. So it moving out of here is going to be really, really hard. This is a GFS, not the European. All right, this is the third time recording this because I keep messing up the model forecast. This is the American model. It's going to be going out into next week. We're going to watch for both showers potentially today and tonight and tomorrow. Much better chance tomorrow with showers and storms possibly around. Some could be strong to severe. We'll have to watch. I'm not saying it's going to be widespread, but it's marginal risk. And then the rain chances will decrease as we head into tomorrow night. And then through the weekend, we'll have to watch the influence of a disturbance in the south of us, whether or not it could bring us some rain for Sunday. Also, how clear will we get on Saturday as we get the air show there in Leesburg. The next week, we got to watch it. The interactions of a potential hurricane system off the East Coast. It will get pretty close to the East Coast. It's going to impact us in some ways by reinforcing some cooler air to the north and maybe some windy conditions. Maybe bring rain. Not sure and certain exactly how it's all going to pan out, but it's going to be interesting to watch. And definitely cause a problem along the East Coast. Riptides and beach erosion is going to definitely be something they're going to have to watch. We will stay around 80 today, tomorrow, and Friday, and then get into the mid-70s through the weekend. And again, depends on exactly which model you want to trust, whether or not we get more wet over the weekend. I think the long range next week will eventually get the high pressure to the north kind of out of the way and warm us up and dry us out. So here we go. I'm going to be quick here. Here we're already in the Thursday, showing the rain in the front coming through to give us some scattered showers and storms. So I'm doing this because I've done this 3 times, so I want to be careful. By Friday, we kind of clear out some. The weekend, like I said, is marginal as to whether or not we're going to get some rain here. But Saturday late here on the GFS, we're showing some rain possibilities, and then it kind of clears out maybe on Sunday here. And then we got to watch what's going on the East Coast. This is going to be very interesting to see. We got a high to the north, a low to the south. We're going to get easterly winds and easterly fetch, so it continues those fog chances and not the clearest of days. And this just gets reinforced over time. Exactly how there's a low here involved, and there's the hurricane. It's just very interesting to see exactly how these interact, and they could bring rain into the region. We'll have to see. Again, I think this is very unknown. The models are going to really have a hard time figuring out. But by about Tuesday and Wednesday, we could see the influence of that and the troughiness on the East Coast. And as a high to the north gets kind of reinforced here with this pretty strong high and a very strong low. And strong easterly winds could bring in moist conditions and cloudy days. And then an increase in winds as the high to the north really gets shoved down into our region. Look at this. Really tight isobars. This is strong winds along the East Coast. It's showing cold air damming or damming air down east of the mountains. So this should keep us a little bit cooler than normal next week and not above normal. How long this sticks around is going to be questionable, but it really does get locked in there for several days before the high really does slip to the east and we start to get the southerly flow. So it'd be later next week that we really see a warm-up. And that's what it looks like. I think later next week we'd warm up, and then we'll have to see how this high to the north could cool us back down. And I have no idea about what's going on in the Gulf. We're not going to really talk about whether or not hurricanes in the form there or not. In the middle part of the country, though, on this high and the southerly winds, this should really warm them up a lot. And that warm air could eventually trek this way. Again, I'm not going to really talk about what's going on in Florida and exactly how that's going to work out because I don't think that's clear at this point at all. But if so, it's kind of a repeat of easterly winds here influencing our weather. All right, that was a GFS. Now, I'm switching to the European model. Here it says European. I've messed this up before. So now we're looking at the influence. So again, maybe some scattered showers and storms today, later, and then again tomorrow with the front coming through, scattered showers and storminess. Friday, again, it looks like it somewhat clears up. And this is where it's different because a disturbance forms along the stalled out front. This is to our south here on Saturday. Good news is it looks dry on this model for Saturday, and that's fine. But by late Saturday into Sunday, moisture comes in from the south, and we get a good wet Sunday. So let's see if this comes true. If it does, it could just mean a rainy Sunday day, very fall-like type of setup. And then look at what's going on down here. We got a tropical system here, a very strong hurricane here, interacting with each other, and increasing winds, and usually there's a very rare condition if this comes true where things interact with each other. So this is Monday, Tuesday of next week, and you can see it's a different influence, but we could see some rain back into here. We're not sure exactly in what happens with these systems with each other. They could end up kind of combining efforts and enhancing each other, or even dancing around each other in what's called a Fujiwara, where one kind of shoots around the other. We're going to have to see if that happens and what ultimately happens next week with rain chances and ultimately some stronger winds. This is a little bit slower solution as far as some of the influences go, but it does look like maybe we get some influence next week from both easterly winds off the ocean, so I don't think it's going to be a super warm week. Won't be a cool week either. Daily chances, maybe some unsettled weather, fog overnight. We just have to see what happens. I mean, I'm not thinking it's going to be a washout by any means, but if these tropical systems start to feed into some of that moisture, it could be a little different story. All right. That is just the craziness of what we're going to see. And I don't think the model is going to figure this out for a few days and exactly how strong these systems are and where they interact. It's going to be wild. I think the East Coast is definitely going to watch out, though, for a lot of beach erosion problems, riptides, and higher winds as we get we can see this high in the strength up north is going to push down and start to really tighten the gradient between the high and the low. So I think the East Coast is really going to get some winds next week. All right, that's it for now. Have an awesome day. Watch out for the scattered showers. But the best chance for rain is tomorrow. We do need the rain. Have a good one.